is Julius Mbura. I'm the head of advocacy at Enable and computer assistive technology, and also head of legal. Kindly introduce yourself to our audiences.
Right, my name is Dr. Sylvia Mochabo Akinsiku. I am the founder of Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons Africa. I also volunteer at WHO, that's World Health Rehabilitation Department, and former board director at the National Council for Persons with Disabilities.
Those are big titles.
Small people, big titles.
Yes. So thank you very much for coming to this very important fireside chat. And today we are talking about, autism, and it's an invisible disability. I understand that you have actually, and being on that journey, how has that been impacted your life? And you founded Andy Speaks, and this is because of your journey of raising two kids who have autism, and it being on a neurodiverse, spectrum, invisible disability. How is that, and how is that journey, especially for you to even get to that point where you feel the urge to actually start a movement, start an organization, so that people understand it more?
It was tough, especially things are better now because of the efforts we've made over years of awareness and advocacy and inclusion in different spaces. But in hindsight, you find that diagnosis alone was a process. Finding the person to actually tell you what is the problem, because you're just seeing delayed milestones. For me, I'd never heard of autism before, up until the point when I was being told, okay, you need to go for an assessment. I'm like, what do you mean? So they're like, no, we need to figure out, and there is a special person who has to do that, to look at the kids and observe, and then we know what level of autism they have. Because for my middle child, I have 3. So for the middle child, it was more of seizures first. They came first, and then now the autism now followed later, or rather, because for autism it is about milestones, it's not instant. And like you said, it's invisible. So until you see like a child is struggling with the milestones, achievements, that's when there is that trigger, especially the non-speaking. So that's what most parents face as a flag, that my child is not speaking, yet they're supposed to be speaking. Yet there are so many other signs and symptoms that are there within the first 6 months of the child's life. In Kenya, we did not have a lot of awareness then, so it was quite hard. The education system and also things like having a nanny who can be able to stand the challenges that comes with it was not easy. You get a nanny, they come after 3 days, they're like, I have to go. I remember this one who came and told me, okuniambia mtoto ako hivi. I'm like, what do you mean mtoto ako hivi? He's still a child. He's just supposed to be loved and guided for them to become the person they're destined to be. But still, you see, that brings you to the level of stigma, ignorance, and how we shun and we set aside and brand and label and look at them like there's something wrong. So the aspects of the society being changed, and the need for even like inclusive schools. When I remember when we went to one of the schools, and they're like, yeah, we can take him. After the first term, I was given a result where it was everything not, and as a parent, that breaks you. And at the end of the term, this same principal who made me pay for the fees comes to tell me that, we can't keep him. Look, he's not moving. I'm like, but are you meeting him at where he can? For me as a parent, I was celebrating the smallest, because that's what autism is about. It's late, but you celebrate whichever small achievement. So I was like, but from when he came, he's now able to just take himself to the toilet. That's a big win. Because when you're looking at other kids his age, them they're already up and about, running, talking, and doing things on their own. Yet an autistic child is very dependent on the caregiver. So this makes you either quit your job, because especially for us who have kids with comorbidity of epilepsy, that means you have doctor's appointments, you have to go for therapies, because now everything that you do gets affected, your schedule, your work. You're always taking time off from work to go and handle your child. Well, another parent will just tell their child, okay, we are going to school, dress up. You have to be there to assist your child when there is issues with ADL challenges. Yeah. So on the education side, the schools they don't have assistive tech, because of it being a spectrum, every
Yeah.
child is different.
Yeah.
So satisfying the need of all of them becomes a bit tricky, but it is possible. Not that it's a mission impossible. You just need to understand how they learn. In Kenya, we just have systems. So
Yeah.
we teach them according to the system instead of teaching them how they learn.
Yes.
Be it a kinetic learner, be it a visual learner or an audiovisual learner, a tactile one. So we need to take time to actually understand autism, the spectrum itself, and what inclusive opportunities are there. And that's
Yeah.
how Andy Speaks ended up being born, because I wanted to change that narrative and make it easier for the other parents who are coming after me.
I mean, you've shown us that actually, autism is something that was a gap. There was a big gap, and even talking about education and all the interventions that you need, especially early intervention for kids, especially because detection and knowing that the child has a disability. But I just want you to touch a bit on caregiving. Do you think caregivers are given the right support that they should be given? And I know for a fact that the new Disability Act recognizes caregivers who have kids with severe disabilities. Do you think they get the right support, or what should happen?
I will not say the right support. Caregiving journey is very difficult because no one is mentally prepared for it. When you're getting a child, you expect a perfect child, right? So you have your own emotional turbulence to deal with, to the point of acceptance and doing something. And looking at the awareness, one thing you find, like even when as an organization we're looking at, please fund us, we support caregivers, or advocacy, so that they're aware, so that they can access and know about the opportunities that are present. You find that you'll be told that, we don't fund advocacy. So how do we expect to move forward when we're not supporting the right person? I believe, Julius, if you had not been taken to the right supportive school,
yes,
you would not be where you are.
For sure.
And that's because your mom
Yeah.
was informed,
Yeah.
was in a good mental place to be and believe and open the opportunities for you, place you in the right place. So if the caregivers are not part of the conversation, then that means the children who are on the spectrum are going to be left out.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And the thing about autism is, like, you have to start early.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's why it's called early intervention,
Yeah.
when the brain is still being molded. Because remember, it's a neurological issue. That means the brain is the one that is being supported.
Yeah.
And for us, it's not like for you when you lost your sight, you had to go for rehabilitation, right?
Yes.
For us, it is habilitation. And these are terms and things that parents are not aware. And when looking at the new act, the good thing that one of the things I celebrate, because someone was asking me why I didn't serve another term at the council, like when I went there, I had the goals that I had.
Yeah.
Caregivers having a permanent seat at that council, which is now in the act.
Yes.
Caregivers being part of the benefits that
Yes.
are there.
Yes.
And I remember having a conversation with parliamentarians when we were talking about 2000. To them it was like there is something. But if I paint a picture to you that medication alone per month for my child is 40,000, right? Yet I have to take him for therapy. That's approximately $3,000 per session. You need weekly or twice weekly, depending on the severity.
Yeah.
So then you're telling me you're giving me 2K.
Yes.
Is that helping me? Really, in factual. So the support is now starting. At least we have it on paper. We are awaiting the implementation.
Yes.
Right? So the support has not been there. Especially it's worse for those who are in mashinani, who are not even aware what's going on with their child, or who are hiding their child because of the stigma that's associated with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact, it's a big, you've really worked hard to be where you are, and Andy Speaks has done incredible work around it. What are you currently working on, and how can the rest of the world, people who are listening, people who are watching us, emulate the steps that you've taken to actually demystify all the misconceptions about autism, but also empower persons with autism and make them, even like acquire meaningful lives? Yeah.
So we have various programs aligned. So all my programs are advice from lived experience. So be it in education, we equip schools with the right assistive education materials, because we teach them how they learn and not how we teach. When it comes to healthcare, we have therapy centers. So we're opening therapy centers across. And it's not just therapy. our focus is quality therapy, well equipped with the right assistive devices. Because with the right assistive devices, it's going to half the time you need to go for habilitation. But if you say, oh, I'll just pay the cheap one, or I'll access, just someone comes to the house, they don't have the equipment, your child will take longer to get to where they're supposed to be. Because remember, there is even the inclusive spaces have to be there. Like in the therapy center, it's not like a hospital setup. There is a whole lot of elements in the sensory side of things.
Yeah.
So for our community, first there is acceptance.
Yeah.
Then there is that ending stigma. Autism is just a condition that with support the child can be able to be independent and have a meaningful life.
Yeah.
So as a community, if we embrace that, and that means that there will also have somewhere to go and somewhere that they can be able to be by themselves and serve, and also the supports that we're looking at from, let's say, donors. One of the things is, I understand, yes, autism is complex, but work with us who are in the space to understand how. Because we've already done the research as an organization. We have the numbers, we have the figures, we know who's where, we know what interventions will work, because we are working that every day.
Okay.
So just meeting us halfway, we are very open to partnerships and funding to ensure that we can reach as many children as possible, especially with the early intervention, because that opens up their access to education, it opens up their independence, it opens up time and independence for their caregivers. So starting with that, early intervention is very, very important.
Okay. So I have like 5 questions, but I want you to answer the first thing that comes to mind. Don't even think about it. Okay? So I'll shoot and you tell me like what comes to mind. Don't even think about it. Okay? So disability?
Autism.
Autism?
Disability.
The world?
Is an oyster.
You are?
Miss Africa.
Ooh, okay, nice. So I have powers. I'm giving you a minute to speak to the world.
All right. Speaking over to everyone who's out there, when you meet a child and you see a child is not acting the way you expect a typical child to be acting, instead of being judgmental, instead of thinking something's wrong with this person, take the time to talk to the person next to them and just, how may I help? As caregivers, that's the one thing we never get. Someone willing to be with there. Someone just willing to be like, I can hold him for 5 minutes, you can take a 5-minute nap. You never know what this person is going through. You never know what it is. There could be the smallest thing that they need, just someone to sit and listen. That is something very big, because mental health of caregivers is something that gets affected so much. We have parents abandoning their children. We have parents wishing death upon their children because of the gravity of caring for this child. So acceptance, early intervention, whatever support we can get, we will be thankful. The organization is Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons Africa, located here in Kenya, but to the world.
Wow, amazing, amazing work, and I admire, your vision and what we've been able to achieve so far. There's just one thing that stuck to me. Even talking earlier, you told me like in a conference like this, you need like silent rooms. You need to go and actually decompress, reset, because of your neurons and misfiring because of everything that is going on. It's too busy.
Noise.
Visual noise. I don't relate. But you meet people, and I know they have this constant question of, but you look normal. What do you say? Because I think that's something that we normally get for people who have invisible disabilities.
Neurodivergence is more of how we behave, we relate, how we think. And it depends on what you want to choose to focus on. The minute, if I tell someone I have a disability because I have ODHD, that's a mix of high-functioning autism and ADHD. But how I use it is I'm able to run all these projects as one person. Yet, even if I go to, I remember you came to my office, and when I'm taking you through the flow, like, how are you guys doing all of this? That's the superpower of it. So how about we focus on the positivities and what we can get out of it? And be inclusive, like you just mentioned. When I was walking around and the environment is a bit too much, you're looking for somewhere to just have a quiet reset. Because remember, sensory intake, we have different sensories that get, and different people have different, either hyper or hypo. So you need that quiet moment, that quiet place that you can just sit, reset, rejuvenate, and then have the energies to either go back to social, go back to the noise, because you also hyper here. Like I can hear so many conversations and I don't want to hear all. So I have to work so hard to block out everyone else and focus on the person who's in front of me. So yeah, we can do better for this one, being an inclusive conference.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wrapping up, what is your food for thought, for the activists who are watching us, advocates and people who are in the space and they're looking to even collaborate with you or work with you or advance their advocacy or even like the work that they are doing? What would you tell them?
The one thing that I've noticed in the space, as much as we say we're in the disability space, the neurodiverse conversation is still yet to be put at the table the correct way. It's always just at 1% of the entire program, right? And how much interest does everyone else have for it? If we look at the solutions that are there, how much of neurodiverse have you seen of innovations coming out? Yes, the numbers are there, but people have not taken time. So for other stakeholders that are there, we want to be part of the conversation. So when you're coming up with something, have that space where you say that we need the neurodivergence, the persons themselves or the organizations that champion for, because remember we have a lot of non-speaking, neurodiverse persons. Yeah. So let the voice be heard. Consult, come together. When we are called for PWDs, events for the general PWDs, we show up, but others don't show up for us. So we're challenging them to show up for us. When you're doing, like if it's a funding call, remember that we have the neurodiverse and we can do it maybe even better than typical.
Yes. Yeah. So I think what you're saying is that inclusion needs to be inclusive because again, we are talking about disability inclusion, but within the disability spectra, we need to look at different components that make other disabilities be forgotten or put aside. And that's very powerful. You've heard it from Dr. Sylvia Mochabo herself. And, it's right here at Inclusive Africa Conference. Tune in for more.